So today I'm going to talk about figures from a company that I don't purchase from, which is Neca. I consider Neca to be a middle of the road or middle tier figure company, and the reason I bought it was because of the license, which is Goonies, and I happen to be a huge fan of the Goonies movie. I have a lot of different Goonies things. So in this case, we have Chunk and Sloth. And what's interesting is that NECA came out with these two and never came out with any of the other ones. Uh, Sloth, I kind of get. He's a very interesting character. Then nothing against Chunk. It's just I would have thought maybe Mikey or Mouth, but they went with Chunk, and he's got an interesting outfit, so I kind of like that. He's got his pirate hat on, held on by nothing, just sits on his head. Oops. See. Mezco would have gone with a magnet, but they opted not. So it's a very screen accurate costume. His face is a bit cartoonish, but it looks good. I don't necessarily have a problem with it. There's his costume or his outfit, and you can see how accurate it is. So he's got his Hawaiian shirt, his red jacket. Don't have buttons on here, but that's okay. Not a big deal. There is padding under here to give him a little more girth. So there's Sloth, and he's a bit slender for John Matusiak, who was a retired football player and had some pretty good sized arms. But the arms on him are very slender. You could see in here, and these are the kind of details that the higher end figure companies would have addressed, which is his S on here is not perfect. So this looks like a shirt that's been worn quite a bit. Here it looks pristine. Now his pants are ripped, so it's probably screen accurate. His suspenders, I think, are a little bit thicker in here, but it's good enough. It's fine. In case of his hat, they kind of carved out a little section in here for his little tuft of hair up there. So it sits on there. Again, not using magnets. Now the articulation in these figures is pretty awful. And when I first got the figures, Sloth's feet were kind of pointed down, and I could not move them. And I was worried I was just going to crack the plastic. I finally did get them, but they really do not want to move. His knees, they use ratchet joints, and they're very stiff. So you could see the huge difference between a figure like a NECA figure, and see, he doesn't want to stand. I'm already leaning him over to make him stand because his ankles are so bad. But all the joints are pretty bad. So I guess maybe that's what you get when you get with NECA. When you get NECA is some, and you could see in here even the pins in his elbows. That most the high-end figure makers are not going to show those. So a little bit weak there. They're definitely recognizable as the characters they're supposed to be. So I didn't mind. I didn't regret getting these figures. It was two for $60, so $30 a piece. So $30 for this, that's not insignificant, but you do get a nice costume in both cases. And the costume here is completely removable. It's Velcro in here. Now I paid about $60, but they're more than that now. So if you go on, so there they are. They're $103 selling on Amazon, which is not a tremendous price for two figures. And they come with a lot of accessories, including the statue that gets broken and some other things. Yeah, he's got a knife. I can't remember. There are some other accessories, and I can't remember what they are now. But I will say this: for me to buy a NECA figure, it's going to have to be a really exceptional license. So I would probably, or I would go out and I would buy other Goonies figures from them if they started finishing off the collection. But I sure as heck wouldn't buy any license that is available from other companies. Like they do RoboCop, and they used to do Street Fighter. But there are there are certainly higher quality figure companies out there. But there is a certain charm, I think, to the awkwardness of his costume, and it's not terrible. It's not like, unreasonable. But I don't think it's nearly as well tailored as it would be if Mezco had done it. And it would be awesome. Mezco often surprises me with some of the licenses they acquire. So if they ever did Goonies, I would be absolutely on board with that. And I'd probably pay, they'd probably do $89 for a single figure in that collection. But I'm sure the quality would be much higher. So that's NECA's Goonies, Chunk and Sloth.